Good evening, and I welcome you, students, for another important and amazing session on the transition elements. I told you last time what is the difference between D block elements and transition elements, and we focused on 3D series. 3D series elements, which are those elements, students. Scandium, here is the 3D series: scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper, zinc. I make it very clear, student, we have to learn this series. You have to learn this atomic numbers also. You should know that it starts from 21 and 22 and it goes up to 30. Okay?
Yes,
Because
sir.
you already know that how many d orbitals are there, student. How many d orbitals are there? You are aware of that, student. You have 5 d orbitals. One, two, three. So how many electrons you can put in d orbital? You already know maximum of 5 into 2, 10 electrons, student. So there is a 10 elements which we are writing here, starting from 3d1 to 3d10. Right? We have discussed their electronic configuration, students. We told you the electronic configuration, that the electrons are being filled in the 3D subshell, student, in the case of the 3D series. And starting from scandium, we went up to zinc. There were few exceptions where half filled or completely filled orbitals become more stable in the electronic configuration. So we have already written, then we have told you how the atomic sizes were varying, student. You have seen there is a, as you can see, 161, 145. So there is a very small decrease in the sizes, as you see, students. And then here almost same. And then you can see slight increase in sizes. Do you see that? Atomic sizes in picometer. 161 picometer. These are the atomic sizes. So student, what we told you, there are two important factors which were there. The electrons are being filled in the penultimate 3D subshell, right? Which is not the outer orbit, not the outer orbital, student. It is a penultimate orbital. And the effective nuclear charge increases, that will cause contraction in the size, but at the same time there is a screening effect which is operating, student. So what will happen, the result of screening is that the screening will try to increase the size and attractive nuclear charge will try to decrease. So it's two factors which are involved. As you put more and more electrons, student, in 3D, the screening becomes more, student, and more electron repulsion takes place. They push the uh, outer electron away from the nucleus. So these
Yes,
two
sir.
factors were discussed, students. So what we said, student, mm, the atomic and ionic radii, which we discussed last time, are based on two factors. We have already told you. Then, as you see, first ionization energy, student. First ionization. What is ionization energy, student? Energy required to remove an electron from a neutral gaseous atom. As you can see, 631, student, 656, this has increased and slight decrease here. And you see slight increase, then increase, and almost same, almost little decrease, almost same, student, and then high. The ionization energies, we told you, student, the energy required to remove an electron in general is inversely proportional to the ion size of the atom. Smaller the size, larger the ionization enthalpy. Since there is a, as you see, the size is also, you see, first they were decreasing and then they're almost same and increased due to the two factors. Same things are operating here also. So what do you find, student? There is an increase in ionization enthalpy from left to right. However, there are small variations. These values show that successive enthalpies of these elements do not increase as steeply as the main group. So the magnitude of the increase in second and third ionization or the successive is much higher in these cases. Further, you see, students, their melting points, you can see 1813, 1940. These are the melting points, students. So what is happening, student? Melting points are increasing, and then further, this is becoming less. And as you see, they increase, student, reached a maxima, and then there is a decrease in the melting point, student. So what is the reason for this, student? What we observe in such cases, students? What could be the reason for such a change in the melting points. As you see student, in the case of the transition elements, what is happening to the melting points? They usually, you know, that the transition metals are very hard and have low volatility. Their melting and boiling points are high. Transition elements, students, are hard. Their melting and boiling points are high. Their melting and boiling points are high. So the high melting points are due to, if you compare them with alkali metals are soft. You have seen alkali metal, they are also metal, they are soft, but here they are hard and high melting. Why? Because it depends on, student, the bonding. It depends on the metallic bonding. Here, what you are talking is a metallic bonding, student. And if the bonding is strong, then what will happen? If bonding is strong, then what will happen, student? Melting and boiling point will become high. So that will depend on the number of electrons which participate in bonding. In the case of alkali and alkaline earth metals, there are only electrons in the s orbital. But here, you know, there are electrons in the d orbital. There are electrons in the s orbital also, student. So the d orbitals also participate in bonding. The d orbital, students, the electrons of the d orbitals also participate in the bonding, students. And the number of electrons will be more, student, in the case of the transition elements. As you see that what is happening, student, melting point is increasing and reaching a maxima, and then it is falling back. Why? The melting point increase first and then reaches a maxima and decrease. So this can be explained on the basis of, student, the presence of the number of unpaired electrons. Number of unpaired electrons. What is happening, student? Because the d orbitals are also involved in the bonding. The electrons of the d orbitals are involved in the bonding. And you know, the larger the number of unpaired electrons, students, then the greater will be the bonding between, metallic bonding will become strong, student, as well as there is a covalent bonding in these transition metals. They are both metallic and covalent bonding because of the participation of n-1 d and ns orbitals. Therefore, the result is they are hard, have high melting and boiling points. And as the number of unpaired electron will increase, the metallic bonding will increase. And after D5 is filled, what will happen? The number of unpaired electrons will become less, students. So maxima is at the middle, that indicate that one or more electron per d orbital is particularly favorable for strong interatomic attractions. The greater the number of valence electrons, stronger is the resultant bonding. Okay? So this is important, that maximum number of unpaired electron will mean stronger bonding. Therefore, you will see such a trend, student, in the melting point, as well as you will see such a trend in the enthalpies of atomization. What we are saying, melting and boiling points are high as compared to alkali metals, because more electrons are involved in bonding. The greater the number of electrons involved in attractive bonding, student, metallic bonding or covalent bonding, more will be the melting and boiling points. And second, not only that, if you will see their enthalpies of atomization, students, if you want to remove an atom from the crystal lattice of these metals, student, then the larger the number of unpaired electrons, the stronger is the bonding and more atomization energy will be required. So they will increase and around the middle maximum, and then they will decrease, student, because that depends on the presence of the unpaired electrons. So important point, student, metals with a very high enthalpy of atomization, very high boiling point, tend to be noble in their reactions. Okay, so here we see, and what is happening to the density, student? Density 3 4.5 increasing. So as you are going, the densities are increasing, student. Density depends on which factors? Density depends on the mass per unit volume, student. The reason is, you see, in the transition metal, mass is increasing more, student, and then as compared to the volume. So when you will take the, due to larger increase in mass, student, you will see the density increases as you are going down the group. There's an increase in density. So these are some of the trends, student. these are some of the physical properties which we are talking about. What we are talking? Physical properties of transition metal. Students, what we are discussing is 3D series. Have you noted down everything? Tell me.
Writing survey.
You note down everything, student. One more thing you will see, student, the melting point of zinc. See, the melting point of zinc is less as compared to others. Do you see that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, when such questions are always asked, student, you will see, student, the melting point and enthalpy of atomization of zinc is less as compared to this. Why? In the 3D series, you find that zinc has a melting point, lower melting point, student. I told you the melting point is due to the inter stronger metallic bonding, and that here we are saying the larger the number of unpaired electron, the stronger is going to be the bonding, student. And in the case of zinc, what is the electronic configuration of zinc, student? Zinc, zinc is 30. So you are saying argon 18, and what you have, student? 3d10 4s2. So the d orbital is completely filled, student. As you can see, zinc is not even considered as a transition metal. Why? Because the d orbital is completely filled, student, and therefore there are no unpaired electrons, no unpaired electrons,
Yes, sir.
and therefore, student, the metallic bonding is weaker in the case of the zinc, and the result of that is the zinc has lower melting point as compared to others, and also lower enthalpy of the atomization due to the
Okay.
completely filled d orbital. There are no unpaired electrons, student. Larger the number of unpaired electron, you will see stronger is the bonding, metallic bonding, which is there, and that increases their enthalpy of atomization and melting points. Okay, we proceed further, student. This we already told you, student. So, what are the general characteristics, the general properties or characteristics of the transition element, students? What are the general characteristics or the properties of the transition elements? So some of the physical properties of transition elements which we will be studying. They have large charge by radius ratio. That means their size is small, charge is large, student. So large charge by size ratio. They are hard and have high densities as compared to alkali metals. Student, alkali metals are soft, they are hard because the bonding is stronger, because here n-1 d electrons are also participating in the bonding. There is both metallic as well as covalent bonding in the case of the transition elements. So they are hard, student, because n-1 d electrons and ns electrons participate in bonding, students. And the bonding can be, what you find, metallic and even covalent bonding. So the result is high melting and boiling point, students. Form compounds which are often paramagnetic. This is an important point, student, which we will tell you what is the meaning of paramagnetic. What do you mean by paramagnetic? You know there are two types of substances, student. One are called paramagnetic substances, students. What are paramagnetic? Are those students which are attracted towards the magnetic field. These are the substances, they are attracted towards the magnetic field, students. And this is due to presence of unpaired electrons. If there will be unpaired electrons, students, then they will be paramagnetic. You know, even oxygen is paramagnetic. The molecular orbital theory of oxygen explained the presence of two unpaired electrons. So wherever you see unpaired electrons, such substances will be paramagnetic. They will be attracted by the magnetic field, students. And diamagnetic substances are those, students, which are repelled by the magnetic field. Diamagnetic substances, students, they are repelled by the magnetic field. Then those which have no unpaired electrons. You know, electron, when I represent an electron, student, electron is spinning as well as orbiting, student. There is an orbital angular momentum, there is a spin angular momentum of the electron. You have seen the spin. Electron is like a bar magnet, student, is like a small bar magnet. So you have this spin, which spin quantum number you have been told plus half, and you have another spin of the electron, student, which you are representing like this, which this is the same. I will reverse the clockwise and anti-clockwise. Okay, you have another spin, student. Electron is spinning like this and is also spinning like this. You have spin quantum number plus and minus half. This is, it should be minus half, student. That is plus half. Okay, so the electron is like a bar magnet, student. It can spin around its axis. And if there are unpaired electrons, student, it will have a magnetic moment. If they are paired, they will cancel out each other. Just like north, south, south, north. So fifth important point which we are going to study is the oxidation state. Transition metal exhibit variable, means variety of oxidation state, student. Till now, alkali metal plus one oxidation state, alkaline plus two. And now we are coming to group 3 to 10, student. They show variable oxidation states. You will see plus 2, plus 3, plus 4, plus 5, plus 6, 7, like this. They will show variable oxidation state, student. Why? Because there is a n minus 1 d electrons as well as ns electrons. So in the bonding, there is a participation of both these orbitals, students. See, they have n minus 1d, ns, and np orbitals also, you know. So because of the participation of these orbitals, student, what will happen? That the transition metals can show variety of oxidation state, variable oxidation state. That's a very important question which will be discussed, student, when we will show the oxidation states of the transition element. So there is a great variety of the oxidation state, students, and you will get oxidation state starting from plus 2 to plus 7. Because there are electrons in the as well as electrons are also present in the d subshell. They can also take part in the formation of the compounds. Manganese, for example, plus 2 to plus 7 oxidation states are shown. They are colored ions and compounds, student. You have seen beautiful colors of the coordination compounds. They are highly colored, students, and they show very brilliant colors of different red, blue, green. So what we find, they are forming colored ions and compounds. Further, students, they form compounds with profound catalytic activity, will be explained, student. They are being used as a catalyst all over. A lot of organic reactions, you know, transition metals are used as a catalyst. You have seen iron is used as a catalyst, molybdenum, tungsten. So many catalysts you have seen, platinum, palladium. All these, they are very good catalysts. They provide a good surface as well as their oxidation states can change, student, and therefore they they are used as catalyst in large number of reactions, both in organic and in other cases. And you know, in preparation of ammonia and other, the preparation of sulfuric acid, on you will see a lot of transition metal being used as a catalyst and form large stable complexes. Important, we will see what are coordination compounds, what are complexes, highly colored compounds, and they have huge biological application. Even chlorophyll is a coordination, is a complex of magnesium, student, and Ham in the blood, HB, is also a complex of the iron. So transition metal iron is also in the list of the transition elements. These are some of the important properties of the transition metals. You note down, students. Noted.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll discuss these properties. Now the important point, they show variable oxidation number. Student, important point that these elements in alkali metal you said +1 oxidation state. You know, sodium +1, potassium +1, lithium. Alkaline earth metal you said magnesium 2 plus, calcium 2 plus. There is no variable. But here, interesting thing, student, the valence electrons of the transition elements are n-1d and ns, which have little distinction in energy. Both energy levels can be utilized as a part of bond development. Important point, student. That what is the reason, student, why they show variable oxidation state? Why? Why transition elements, students? Important question for the exam. Why transition elements exhibit, students, variable oxidation states? And as I said, student, n-1d and ns orbitals are involved, student. Both can participate. Both participate, student, in bonding. For example, in 3D series, student, 3D series, what orbitals are there? You have 3D and 4s. How many? 1 to 2 and 1 to 10. Right? This is a general electron configuration. You have argon here. So student, they can participate in the bonding, student, both D and S. And therefore, they will show large number of oxidation states, variety of oxidation states. So you can have electrons formation of compounds by use of d orbitals by s, because the energy level gap is not that high, student. The energy difference between 3d and 4s is very small, students, and they can easily take part in the bonding. And here is a list, student. For example, see, this is a configuration of titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese. You can see titanium shows +2, +3, +4, vanadium +2 to +5, chromium. Because how many electrons are there? देखो, important point. +2 is shown by all. You see the +2? Yes or no? Tell me.
Yes, sir.
+2 means they are losing 2 electrons, +2 oxidation state. First point, +2 oxidation state will be obtained, student, when you will lose 2 electrons from 4s orbital, 4s2. This is 4s2. If it will lose 2 electrons, then what will happen? You will get +2 oxidation state. And you know, we told you the 4s is outer and 3d is penultimate. When what will happen? When the electrons will be lost, student, first they will be lost from 4s. As I said, the energy gap between 3d and 4s is very small. So the first 2 electrons will go from 4s, then the electrons will be lost from 3d. So if 2 electrons are lost, which one are these? 4s. So they all show +2 oxidation state. And then what happens? Here, for example, in the case of titanium, if I have not written scandium, scandium should be here. Student, scandium shows only +3. Why? Because what is the oxidation state? What is the atomic number of scandium? 21. Argon. What do you have, student? 3d1 4s2. So if it loses 3 electrons, scandium, what will it be left with? Stable noble gas configuration. Then it will become 3d0 4s0. Right? This is a stable noble gas configuration, right? Completely failed, student. It has complete noble gas. So it shows scandium shows +3. Then here titanium, you have first, if you lose 2 electron +2, then another electron from D +3, then +4. The dark lines are the more stable. Wherever I've shown these dark student, they are more stable, more stable, more stable, more stable, more stable, more stable. Can you see that? Dark, wherever there are dark student, they are more stable, more stable. See the dark ones? And how many maximum electrons can be lost here? 5. So there's
Yes,
plus
sir.
1. In chromium, 5 plus 1, 6. In manganese, 3d5, maximum electron you can lose is 7. So plus 7 oxidation state. Therefore, student, what do you find? Manganese Mn shows largest number of oxidation states. Manganese shows largest number of oxidation state, students, ranging from plus 2 to plus 7, right? You have plus 3, plus 4, plus 5, plus 6, and plus 7 for manganese, right? And for iron, again, plus 2 and plus 3 are well known, but they are very less, not that stable, student. And as you go further, student, you find that again, the tendency to show higher oxidation states decreases. So the thing is that as you are going towards, student, higher and higher side, you are getting more and more pairing of the electrons. As the electrons get more and more paired, student, the participation in the bonding becomes less. Clear?
Yes, sir.
So maximum oxidation state in the middle, and then it falls back, increases. And when 2 electrons will be lost, everyone is showing plus 2. But important point, what are the important features, student, here to be noted? Questions will be there on that. What are the important points, student? Scandium shows only plus 3. Sc, because after losing 3 electrons, it becomes stable noble gas configuration. And important, copper also shows plus 1. See the copper, plus 1 oxidation state. Why? It is related with the electron configuration of copper. What is the electron configuration of copper, student? 3d10 4s1. 3d10 4s1 means it can lose 1 electron from the s, student, then it will become 3d10. And you know 3d10 is completely filled, it is stable. So copper shows plus 1 oxidation state also. Copper shows plus 2 oxidation state also.
Yes, sir.
Important. Which element shows plus 1? Copper. Which shows plus 3? Only scandium. All other show variable oxidation state, as you can see, more than 1. And in some cases plus 3 is more stable. And largest number of oxidation state is shown by manganese. Mn shows plus 2, plus 3, plus 4, plus 5, plus 6, and plus 7. And the trend you see is that the number of oxidation state increases and maximum in the middle, student, and then drops, then again decreases due to, as because after maximum unpaired electrons are here, after that what happens, more and more electrons are paired, student, and the participation becomes less in the bonding. As you will see that if you want to remove 1 electron, lot of energy is required, 2 more energy. And if you are saying 7 electrons you want to remove, plus 7 will mean, student, that this will be energetically very difficult. And such oxidation states will be exhibited by those elements, student, which are strongly oxidizing agents, highly electronegative elements like oxygen, fluorine. They can give high oxidation states of plus 6, plus 7, plus 5, student. And lower oxidation state will be a type of ionic compounds, and higher oxidation state, student, there will be covalent compounds. There will be sharing of the electrons, because loss of 7 electron, you know, it will require too much energy. Energetically, it will not be favorable. So the oxidation states can be also explained on the basis of their electron configuration. Okay? Electron configuration. And one more important point, student, this once you reach the highest oxidation state plus 7, then it can come to lower oxidation state only. That means it can gain electron, it cannot lose any more electrons. If it gains electron, it undergoes reduction, then it becomes an oxidizing agent. They become oxidizing agent, student, plus 7. Mn plus 7 will mean, student, it will be powerful oxidizing agent. You know, potassium permanganate is a strong oxidizing agent in chemistry, students, plus 7, because from plus 7 it can go to plus 4, and from then plus 2. And if it is in the lowest oxidation state, student, then it cannot go less than this. Then what will happen? They can undergo oxidation. They can undergo oxidation. They will act as reducing agents. They can act as a and the oxidation states in between, student, in between oxidation state, when we have, they can go oxidation and reduction. Such reactions are called disproportionation reaction in chemistry. Disproportionation is very important. Disproportionation reactions are very important. That means the elements, whatever we are saying, they can undergo self oxidation, and they can undergo oxidation and reduction simultaneously. Both oxidation and reduction can happen simultaneously in a reaction, student, in such cases. So what I'm saying, these are called disproportionation reactions, in which they can undergo simultaneous oxidation and reduction in the same reaction. This will happen when you have middle type of the oxidation states. So I hope it is clear that what is the variety of the oxidation states, and what is the important points to be noted, student, in the oxidation states. Questions are put up on this. You have noted down, students, then I will proceed further. ठीक है? Comparison of successive ionization energies of magnesium and manganese. Here is the ionization energies. You can see 5,000, 10,000. These are kilojoules per mole. And you can see this is magnesium. What is the magnesium? Is 12, student. It is a group 2 element. Which element? Group 2. They are called alkaline earth metals. And you know which group is, which period is magnesium. What is the configuration, student, of the magnesium? They have an NS2. NS2. So hydrogen, lithium, beryllium, magnesium is in the third period, student. So what it has? 3s2, 2p6, 3s2, 2p6, 2s2, and 1s2. That is the configuration, right? Tell me.
Yes, sir.
Which will mean what, student? This is argon, helium, neon. This is neon, inert gas. 10 and 3s2. So if you remove one electron, first ionization energy, if I see, the electron is removed from the 3s. ठीक है? Second ionization energy, the electron is removed from 3s, student. The same, from the same shell, same shell. Which one is this? N equal to 3. ठीक है? So magnesium, you see, first ionization energy, second ionization energy is also not that high, because the electrons are removed in the third. But when I will remove the third electron, third ionization energy, the electron will go from the N equal to 2, student, second shell. Second shell. So what will happen? There is a large increase. You can see there is a large increase, this one. Do you see that? You see that there is a large increase, student, this one, from third ionization energy. This is the first, second, and third ionization energy of magnesium. Third ionization energy is large, student, here high. There is a large increase. Why? Because the electron is now going to be removed from N equal to 2, second shell. So it will need more energy. But how many electrons are there in the second shell, student? Second shell, you have 6 here, as you see. Then there is a not that big change. So energy change is like this, because then electrons are going from 2p. First from 2p, we have to remove these 6 electrons. Then we will go from 2s, students, if we want to, if the A has gain up to 7. And what happens in the case of the transition elements? The first ionization energy, second, but these values, third, fourth, they are lower than magnesium. Why? What is the configuration of manganese? Atomic number of manganese is 25. And how you write 18 argon student, 3d5 4s2. First, the two electrons are going from the n equal to 4 shell, n equal to fourth shell.
Excuse me. Yes, sir.
So you can see 1 and 2. And then the next is going from n equal to 3, third one. Third ionization energy means student, this n equal to 4, which one? Ionization energy 1 and ionization energy 2. They are from the n equal to 4 shell, but third n equal to 3. So there will be increase here, as you see. But then after that, what happens? All the electrons are being removed. All other electrons, you see, up to 5 more electrons, student. One, third, fourth, fifth. How many you have? Five. These five electrons. Five electrons. So third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh, student. They will be removed from 3D subshell. That means n equal to 3 from the same subshell, student. That is why these values are lower than magnesium. The values you can see lower than magnesium. Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Therefore, these values of manganese, higher ionization energy, are lower than magnesium.
Yes,
Does
sir.
that explain everything?
Yeah.
When I will change the shell number, student, naturally the value of the ionization enthalpy will show a larger increase. In the same shell, it will show a lesser increase because they are present in the same. Now we are talking that magnetic properties of the transition elements. I told you, students, what I told you, that transition elements show paramagnetic behavior, student. What do you mean by transition elements show paramagnetic behavior, student? If I take 3D series, students, 3D series, I'm saying, students, that whenever there will be unpaired electrons, what will happen? The transition metal ions will become paramagnetic. They will show paramagnetic.
Okay.
They will show paramagnetism, student.
What
The
is the
reason we
meaning
have
of?
told you that the unpaired electron has got a magnetic moment associated with, which we call as a spin angular momentum. There is an orbital angular momentum also, but they quench in the 3D series. And the magnetic moments are due to the spinning of the electron, due to spin angular momentum. So the contribution of orbital angular momentum is effectively quenched, and magnetic moment is determined by the magnetic moment is determined by the magnetic moment is determined by
So, what does it mean to be paramagnetic?
diamagnetic means it has no
No,
unpaired
para.
electrons and it will repel the magnetic field. If I bring a magnetic field, it will repel. The substances which are paramagnetic, they are attracted towards the magnetic field because they have unpaired electrons.
Okay.
Bar magnet, it behaves like a bar magnet. If the electrons are paired, student, if the electrons are paired, the spin magnetic moments cancel. They cancel each other because one spin is this is north south, this is south north. They cancel. They are quenched. So if unpaired electrons are there, what happens? If I bring a magnetic field, they are attracted. They are attracted towards the magnetic field. So the magnetic moment is determined by, student, in the case of the 3D series, in the case of the transition element, the magnetism is due to spin angular momentum. Spin angular momentum, I told you, the electron is spinning around its axis. It can spin clockwise or it can spin anti-clockwise. If there are unpaired electrons, student, then it behaves like a bar magnet and it will be attracted towards the magnetic field. That's what I'm saying. And the magnetic moment is determined by number of unpaired electrons. Number of unpaired electrons. And what magnetic moment I am talking for, student? I am talking of spin only magnetic moment. मतलब electron is spinning around its axis. As I said, this is the electron, it is spinning around its axis. It has two spins, I have told you, plus half and minus half. You have ms plus minus half, two spins. One is like this, other is like this. So the electrons are spinning around their axis. If they are paired student, these equal and opposite spins quench, they cancel each other. The spin only magnetic moment formula is given like this, student. It is based on n plus 2, where n is the number of unpaired electron and the unit is Bohr magneton. Bohr magneton is the unit, student, where n is the number of unpaired electrons. If I can calculate, student, the number of unpaired electrons, then I can calculate the magnetic moment of these. ठीक है? If the number of unpaired electron increases, magnetic moment will increase, student, and they are calculated by spin only formula and can be compared experimentally. And the certain ions in solution or in solid state. The ions, student, the ions, transition metal ions. I'm talking of, student, transition metal ions, students. The transition metal ions, student, which are 3D series here. What we are saying, the magnetic moment will be decided by the number of unpaired electron, which is given by spin only magnetic moment formula. If I put the number of unpaired electron, I will get the value of the magnetic moment. Magnetic moment. So if we have hydrated ions mean in solution, or I have solid state, student, solid state, then I can find out whether the given substance will be paramagnetic or not. For example, if I consider scandium 3 plus ion, question, scandium 3 plus, is it paramagnetic? Question is given to you. What is your answer? You have 1 minute to answer the question, student. What is, you have to first see, I told you we must learn the configuration of these transition elements. It's very important. What is the atomic number of scandium? 21. Right? How do you write? Argon 18. And what else you have, student, in the case of this? How do you write the configuration of this? What you are writing? 3D1 4s2. What will be scandium 3 plus? The 3 electrons will be lost. What will you have then? 3d0? Tell me. Yes? No unpaired electron? There is no unpaired electron. Therefore, students, scandium 3 plus is having 0 unpaired electron. It is not paramagnetic. It is not paramagnetic. And the value of mu will be, if I put value of n is 0, what will you get? Mu 0. Bohr magneton. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, let me take some more examples, student. For example, now I say that I have titanium 3 plus in solution or in solid. What is the atomic number of titanium? Tell me, student. What is the atomic number of titanium? Tell me. Atomic number of titanium.
Atomic number of
What series?
atomic number of deuterium.
Atomic number of titanium, tell me first. Titanium is, students, 22. What is the electron configuration? Valence electron configuration. You tell me the valence electron configuration. That will be 3d2 4s2. Right?
Yes.
What will be Ti3 plus? 2 electrons will go from here, 1 from here. It will be 3d1. 3d1 means it has got 1 unpaired electron. Yes or no?
Yes,
How
sir.
many unpaired electrons? 1, 2, 3, 4. It has one unpaired electron. N equal to 1. Number of unpaired electrons. How many?
Num
1. So
One.
therefore it will be paramagnetic.
Yes, sir.
Substance will be paramagnetic. If you want to calculate this value, okay, put the value of this here. 1, 1 plus 2. So square root of 3, student. What will be the square root of 3, student? What will be the 1.73? Bohr magneton. ठीक है? Now let me take the case of student iron 2 plus. Iron 2 plus. You have 1 minute to answer the question. Is iron 2 plus paramagnetic, student? And how many unpaired electrons are there? How many unpaired electrons are there? How many unpaired electrons are there, students?
In Fe2 plus.
Yes. What is the atomic number of iron? Tell me first. Now we have to learn it. I told you that first series should be learned, students. Such questions will be there.
26. Iron is 26.
How much? 26. Then what is the electron configuration? Valence shell outer electron configuration, student. 3d6, 4s2. How do I write it?
Yes, sir.
6. This is 3d6 and this is 4s2. Now iron 2 plus will be what, student? Electrons will go from 4s. What will be left? What will be the d count, student? 3d6. And 3d6 means how many unpaired electrons? Tell me, how many unpaired electrons here in 3d6? How many unpaired electrons are there, student? Find the number of unpaired electrons. Tell me. How many unpaired electrons will be there in case of iron 2 plus? You have 1, 2. How do you fill these? 5 and 6. How many unpaired electrons you see here? Tell me,
I
student.
see 4 unpaired electrons.
N equal to 4. 4 unpaired. Therefore, it will be paramagnetic.
Yes, sir.
And if I want to calculate, put the value of N equal to 4, then I will get the value in Bohr magnet. That what is the magnetic moment. So therefore, iron 2 plus compounds are paramagnetic, students. Why? Because they have unpaired electrons. And let me take another example, student. Chromium 3 plus. Tell me, student, how many unpaired electrons are there? You have 1 minute to answer the question. What is the atomic number of chromium, students?
Atomic number of chromium is 24.
24. And the
Hello.
electron configuration, how do you write the electron configuration of chromium valence shell? You here there is an exception. We have told you
3d5 4s1.
3d5 4s1. Now when I write chromium 3 plus, then what will be the d count? How many electrons lost? 3, 1 from 4s and 2 from this. What will be left? 3d.
3d.
How many electrons left, student?
3d3.
3d3. How many unpaired electrons will be there? 1, 2, 3, 4. How many unpaired electrons?
There will be 2 unpaired electrons.
There are 2,
Sorry, 3.
3 unpaired electrons. n equal to 3. Will it be paramagnetic?
Yes, sir, it will be.
Okay, this is paramagnetic. Therefore, chromium 3, we are saying chromium 3 compounds, chromium 3 plus will be paramagnetic. Now I ask you, student, Zn2 plus, is it paramagnetic? Question. You have 1 minute to answer the question. 1 minute to answer the question, student. Is Zn2 plus paramagnetic? What is the electron
Zn2 plus is
configuration
not
of
paramagnetic.
Zn2 plus is what?
It is not paramagnetic.
What is the configuration of Zn2 plus? Is 3D.
3d10 4s2.
So 3D10 means this is completely filled.
Yeah, so it is not paramagnetic.
So this is not paramagnetic, student. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. 3D10. So it is not paramagnetic. What is the reason you are giving? It has no unpaired electron. It has no unpaired electron. Therefore, zinc sulfate is, if I say ZnSO4 student, then it is not paramagnetic. Clear? Because it is Zn2 plus. Clear?
Yes, sir.
All right, then we will meet you in our next class further on the chemistry of transition elements. Then we will start chemical bonding and other topics which we want to revise. And because course is a lot, there's a lot of course student, but I think final papers are in May. Most of the students are having final exam in, you have, this is March, April, you have, in most of the paper will be in May, I think, board papers. So we will try to finish up and revise the course as much as possible with you. Meanwhile, you continue and practice questions with you. Okay, good night. I will see you in the next class, students.
Okay, sir, thank you.
Okay.